Welcome to the Love Government. I'm Dennis Leary. We are doing a series of videos called the sex cards. The sex cards are here in front of me. We are now on the 33rd card in this series of 52 cards. The 52 cards are laid out here, and the 33rd card comes in the suit of life. It is called Soul, and the picture of it is taken from the tarot cards, also called love cards, and the particular tarot card is called the Lovers. All of these cards are entitled Lover, La Lover, or The Lover. This card has two sides, as life does. Life has two sides, and then there's a whole middle range. On the extremes, the soul comes into this life trailing clouds of glory, as the poet says. But it also has a gory trail, because the soul is that part of us that retains our memory, our actions, our karma. It condenses it and retains it. And our experiences have a polarity to them. On the one side it's called mate, and the other side is called hate. So in our souls, in our deepest depths of our souls, we have both. We are soul mates. We mate with soul, in other words. But we also have that shadow side, which is called hate. Now, many of us come into this life using that polarity, and we feel it in our bodies. In the love government, we are governed by love. That's the whole idea of this program, is to be governed by love, so that we become lovers. We take a journey through life through this particular structure. The love government has a structure to it, and we travel through that structure. We have 52 aspects of us portrayed by each card. This card, called Soul, is about love. We govern ourselves by love, and it starts out on the soul level, the body level, the emotions, the mind. All of these aspects have to be taken into account for a full explanation of who we are. Or, in terms of a card deck, we need to have 52 cards to play the game properly. We can't play the game on 10 cards, 1 card, or even 51 cards. It doesn't work. You have to have a full deck. Let's look at this card then and see what is contained in it. These cards give us information, and they also give us energy. These cards are analogous to ATM cards, credit cards, driver's licenses. These cards are necessary in our life. They contain information about ourselves, and they also give energy. You can take an ATM card, for example, down to the bank, plug it in, and get money out if you got money in there. While these cards act in an analogous way, we build up our love reserve. And it's been built up for us, but we also participate. There's a love reserve, and these cards tap into that. Each card, in a different way, taps into that love reserve. That's been built up for us, and also we have contributed to it. Taking a look at this card, then I'm going to take this lower one here, which is made up of two separate decks. On the one side is the consciousness cards, is the more conceptual, and on the other side, this side is the more picture, the more emotional. So the two make love with each other. Now we look at this, then the card shows an angel. Once again, we interpret an angel as a lover. The lover is coming out of the cloud. This is the cloud of creation. And the cloud is really a cloud of lovers. So we are surrounded here by many, many lovers from all the dimensions of space, time, and number, and the other dimensions of this game. They come, we invite them to come, and they do come. They're invisible, and we're visible. That's about the only difference. And we're in a body, some of them are not, or they're in a different kind of body. The lovers then are here, and all of the lovers are put together into one symbol or sign or idea, which is called the lover. The lover is really all of us lovers put together. The lover then is the main part of the picture. The sun is behind her and over her head, which indicates the great power that love has. This is our day star sun. Without our sun, we wouldn't be here. But the sun also links to all the other suns, which is billions, and trillions, and quadrillions of suns, and billions of galaxies out there. That's all here, present with us. If we were able to access the full import of that, we would be crispy critters. We couldn't take it. So we also have screens. So these cards and these games and these bodies are also screens, giving us the appropriate amount of energy that we can handle. The card shows two naked people, a man and a woman, which is a love-making mode, and they're called the lovers. Because this is what life is all about, is to become a lover. And the man in this picture is standing in front of a tree of fire, and the woman is standing in front of a tree of fruit. If you look closely at the card, you can see the fruit there, and also a snake in the tree, which is another sexual sign. Snake stands for the penis, the tree stands for the woman's body. It's the tree of life, and that means woman, primarily, and secondarily man. So the man gives the fire, and the woman receives it. In this particular mode of you can reverse this stuff. You know, the man and woman can be switched, and it could be two men, two women. But I'm not going to bother about that now. We're just going to take the standard reference point. Between them is a hill or a mountain. Now this is very important in the love symbology. That stands for the clitoris. In the woman, the clitoris head, the head of the clitoris is visible, and the arms and the legs are not. They're under the surface. Now, recently, now I'm talking 25 years ago, in 1987, there was a book come out by a woman called, forget her name, it doesn't matter. She did extensive research at Harvard and all these universities, and she discovered and put her name on it that the fact that man also has a clitoris. It's undisputed, although people don't want to, mostly people, masculine, patriarchal men don't want to admit that, but the man has also a clitoris. It's about the same size as the woman's. The man has two legs on that, like the woman does, but it doesn't seem that the man has any arms on the clitoris. The man's clitoris is inside of his penis, has the same function of ejaculation and erection as the woman's does. So the import of that is that we are very similar in our biology, very similar, with differences. So when you look at a picture like this, you see a man and a woman, that we're about, you know, mostly similar, but there are significant differences in the way we approach life, and these cards will bring that out. The clitoris system is different than the vaginal system, the uterine system in a woman. See, a woman has more extensive sexuality about her, 5 or 6 times more nerve endings, because her sexuality involves not just the penis localized like the man, but her nerves and her sexuality goes through her clitoris system, then her vagina, uterus, fallopian tubes, ovaries, and really her whole body becomes more involved, so her whole body becomes a sexual expression. This is important to distinguish the clitoral system from the vaginal or the uterine system. The clitoris is pleasure. It really has directly and solely its function is to provide pleasure. Indirectly, it has something to do with reproduction. That's one system of sexuality. The other system is the reproductive system, which is the vagina and so on. Now, what this woman brought out, the man having the clitoris, but her book is also details what all this means in terms of biology. Biology is not the whole picture, of course, only one, but it's an important picture. It really shows up in some of the applications of all this theory that love government is going to make, to separate the clitoral system from the reproductive vaginal system. And we give the primacy to the clitoral system because life is about pleasure, happiness, joy, free expression. That's all contained in that symbol of the clitoris. That's why in the love government we talk about clitoral thinking as opposed to clinical thinking. If you want to lay things out in this tripartite manner, on one side you have the clitoral type of thinking, approach to life, and on the other side you have the clinical. The clinical is more mechanistic, sterile. You know, go to a clinic, right? It's very different than being out in nature. Nature is a clitoral system, more. We're talking in generalities here and tendencies. So in the love government, we favor the clitoral way of using the clitoris, man and woman, as a sign, symbol, reference point, energy source, a way to approach life, rather than a clinical, mechanistic production entailing money and over logicality. There's a difference. So that's why in the love government we reference the clitoris. We're going to come more into detail about the handbook. This is my hand, a manual handbook, shorthand way of saying things in order to, zero in on the essence that we're talking about. And the hand is actually a symbol of the clitoris because it has 5 extensions. The body is referenced to the clitoris. The body has a head, 2 arms, and 2 legs, like the woman's clitoris. And this is all important in love symbology, but the symbols are not empty. They have actions connected to them. They have threads connected to them. There's real effects of this. So the way we think has effects on all of us. So we think clitorally. This has an application as far as the performance of sex. In our culture, we got things wired exactly backwards. And that's why we have so many problems regarding sex. I'll get into it more in detail, but it concerns birth control, abortion, and the way a child is conceived. All these are really important, but they tie in to what I'm talking about now in the theory part of it. The application is extremely important as far as happiness for a human being, happiness is for a society, that we distinguish things. Otherwise, it enters into confusion. Things get mixed up, and you got mixed up confusion. So in the love government, we make distinctions, such as these cards, hate and mate. There's a big difference. Do you want to be a soul mate with the lover? That's the reference point. Or do you want to be a soul hate? No, you don't want to be hate. Most people don't want to hate. But sometimes we're hooked by it. We don't know what's going on. So in the love government, we focus on the lover who includes us. That's our primary soul mate. And if we have that reference point, all of life, sex included, will fall into place naturally. Thank you for listening to this 33rd episode. And we thank all the spirits and the lovers who have joined us. This is a ceremony. And we end the ceremony with some kind of a sign of goodbye sign. As I've just said, the hand is a sign of love. It's a sign of sex, it's a sign of the clitoris, of our whole way of life. And so when you say hi or goodbye with your hand, unconsciously and loveously, there's something else going on. Very deep energy is being communicated, so we leave you with love. Always love. Thank you.